You carry within you a fire that refuses to be dimmed. The struggles you've endured, the paths that suddenly closed, the moments that felt like detours, they were never signs of weakness. They were the proof that your journey was always meant to diverge from the ordinary. Every seeming setback was a hidden preparation, sharpening you for a place where only the rare can truly stand. The unease you felt in crowded rooms, that quiet sense of being tuned to a frequency others can't hear, it was never a flaw. It was your compass. While the world tried to teach you how to blend in, your very nature was pulling you toward a life that can't be lived by imitation. Those doors that locked themselves against you, the circles where you never quite fit, the bonds that fractured under the weight of your truth, none of them defined your value. They only revealed how much larger your presence really is. What they couldn't embrace wasn't your absence of worth, but the immensity of your essence. Your presence is disruptive not because you break things, but because you awaken things. When you arrive, false comfort dissolves, illusions crack, and stagnant air begins to stir. You were never made to sit quietly in the corner of life. You were made to shift the atmosphere simply by existing. What others call too much has always been your signature strength. Your clarity unsettles those who survive on blurred lines. Your boldness unsettles those who cling to smallness. But the tension you create isn't destruction, it's the signal of transformation. There has always been an unseen boundary separating you from the crowd. You may have mistaken it for loneliness, but it is actually the horizon line of your calling. Beyond it lies the life designed only for those willing to embrace their difference, not bury it. And so the truth is this: you are not here to echo what has already been said, or to walk a path carved by others. You are here to expand the map itself, to remind the world that some souls are not born to fit, they are born to redefine. You move through life as though stationed on a different plane, watching patterns unfold while others remain blind to them. Where many choose comfort in repetition, you have been placed in contrast, to observe, to endure, and to remain steady when turbulence rises. That quiet sense of detachment is not a deficiency but the unmistakable mark of greater purpose. What felt like rejection was training disguised as resistance. You're not here by chance. Feel the pull? Tap join to unlock truth, purpose, and a tribe that gets it. This is more than a membership, it's your calling. Every pause on your path, every silence that surrounded you, every moment that seemed like exile was actually groundwork. You were not diminished in those times, you were refined. Just as stone under pressure becomes unbreakable, your challenges were sculpting you into something rare. You resonate at a wavelength others cannot detect, because your role was never to maintain what already exists. What most call normal cannot anchor you, for you were never designed to remain tethered there. Your inner vision stretches further, and you sense truths others ignore. This distance you feel from their world is not accidental, it is intentional. Their gates closing on you were not a dismissal, but the clearing of space for your distinct path. Life has made certain you cannot comfortably accept less than your true calling. Notice how obstacles that confuse others often unravel themselves in your hands. Complexity energizes you instead of weighing you down. You weave together pieces no one else even notices exist. And yet, recognition so often slips past you, leaving your worth unseen. But invisibility in their systems is not due to blindness. They notice you clearly, so clearly it unsettles them. You do not align with the frameworks they depend on. Their labels cannot hold you, and their measures fail to calculate your depth. The very existence of your difference dismantles their unspoken rules. Your path is not meant to trace their structures or climb their hierarchies. It is to carve open new routes, to design what has never been imagined. This is why you find no belonging in their patterns of reward. Even in your bonds with others, attraction is followed by unease. People are drawn in by your presence, then startled by what it reveals in themselves. When you stand before them, you stir the hidden layers they avoid confronting. Their withdrawal is not evidence of your lack, but proof of your impact. You awaken dormant potential, and that reflection can frighten those not ready to face it. Your role is not to be universally embraced, but to unsettle stagnation, to ignite transformation, even if it begins through tension. You are not bound to be accepted, you are bound to lead beyond their boundaries. You exist as a force that unsettles the stale, as a current that refuses to let stagnation remain. Where others step lightly into familiar patterns, your very arrival alters the terrain. Even when silent, without effort, your being alone reshapes the rhythm around you. You awaken dormant strength, draw out what has been hidden, and compel others to meet the truths they've long avoided. That is your role. Your energy bends the sequence of events. People who have built their lives inside narrow boundaries often don't know how to respond when you appear. Yet your presence sparks movement they didn't anticipate, creating new roads where once there were only walls. With you, their routines fracture, and from those fractures possibilities emerge. The moment you enter, paths once rigid begin to shift. You need no speech, no instruction. Your essence itself is enough to unsettle the dust covering forgotten dreams. At first there is hesitation, even pushback, but soon the very cracks that formed allow for expansion, clarity, and transformation. Your gift is disruption, and though not always welcomed, it is always necessary. Often, your influence flows quietly, unnoticed in the moment, yet unmistakable in its aftermath. People may resist the unease you bring, mistaking it for intrusion. But you carry no obligation to soften the effect you have. You are the turning point in their story, the unseen hand pushing reality into a new alignment, unapologetic in purpose. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. Your aim was never to deliver comfort. You are here to awaken, to break open sealed doors within the Spirit. Even when those you touch cannot name it, your presence leaves imprints that change the trajectory. From the fragments of broken certainty, new beginnings emerge. This is your path, to alter lives, to shift direction, to carry transformation like a seed scattered wherever you pass. Your way of living is incomprehensible to those confined by straight lines. They measure in steps, you move in constellations. Where they see limitation, you see endless possibility. You are not bound to one role, one vision, or one identity. You are the originator of new structures, and the world reshapes itself as you move through it. Remaining still has never been your destiny. That restlessness pressing within you is not weakness but the signal of your design. You are meant to enter, ignite, and then move onward. Your task is not to hold but to kindle, to awaken something profound in others and then leave them space to grow into it. You carry revolutions in your footsteps, and with each departure you leave behind a legacy of change. Many wonder why you step away just when momentum builds, yet the truth is simple: your task has been fulfilled. You were never meant to remain tethered to the flame but to be the spark that awakens it. Once the shift begins, you retreat, allowing others to confront their own becoming without leaning on your presence. To linger would weigh down the unfolding, bending the growth you set in motion. Your influence is too concentrated to stay once the transformation has begun. You move unseen, carrying out assignments that reach beyond ordinary comprehension. And as your awareness deepens, you start to grasp the immensity of the role you embody. The haze that once blurred your path begins to dissolve, revealing who you are outside of society's distortions. You no longer see yourself through fractured reflections but through a wider, more luminous perception. Signals you once dismissed become undeniable markers. What used to whisper now calls out in clarity, making your direction impossible to deny. Gone are the days of hesitation about whether there was more to your existence. You now walk with the certainty that every step has been guided, every turn intentional. The threads pulling you forward weave patterns too precise to be chance. Alignment shapes your course, moving you exactly where your essence is required. The anchors of doubt that once held you back no longer have weight. With each realization, pathways open that were invisible before. What felt like resistance now feels like orchestration. The unseen companions surrounding you reveal themselves not in shadows but in strength, pushing you toward fulfillment with precision. Your identity is not one of the crowd but of a messenger charged with awakening. Hardship and isolation were not punishment but preparation, sculpting you into someone who carries disruption as a gift. The more you embrace this truth, the more confirmation comes, validating that your purpose reaches far beyond the surface of daily life. These confirmations arrive like sudden clarity, unmistakable and impossible to deny. They remind you that you are never walking alone, that a vast network of support surrounds you with intention. What once felt uncertain now stands immovable. You were always meant to rise, not by chasing what lies outside of you, but by remembering the force that has always lived within. The strength you carry has always been woven into your essence, untouched and eternal. Yet this world layered illusions upon you, covering that brilliance with heavy distractions and false boundaries. The noise of this reality has long worked to blur your vision, making you doubt what has been within you since the very start. You have moved through life sensing your magnitude, yet feeling it just out of reach. This was never a lack of power, but the effect of a system built on confusion, keeping you occupied so you wouldn't notice how vast you truly are. But the haze that once clouded your perception is thinning. What was hidden is beginning to surface. The weight that bound you to forgetfulness is loosening its grip. Memories of who you are, of the wisdom that belongs to you, return with clarity. You begin to reclaim the knowing that was always yours, that you are not confined by the constructs that others blindly accept. The cage was never real, the bars dissolve as you awaken. Your soul has traveled through realities beyond this narrow existence, and fragments of those journeys now return as reminders. The quiet inner voice that once seemed faint now resounds unmistakably. Every synchronicity, every sign is a message pointing back to your truth. You are not here to be lost in the haze, you are here to pierce it. This is why you've always felt misaligned in environments thick with limitation. While others circle within repetitive patterns, your awareness stretches further, pulling you toward depth they cannot yet see. That sense of strangeness you carried has always been the recognition of a knowledge beyond their reach. It is not new to you, it is remembrance. As your awareness strengthens, so does the force within you. The more you reconnect with your true memory, the less hold this dense reality has over you. No illusion can trap you now, you move through it untouched. Forgetting was the world's attempt to silence you, but remembering is your greatest weapon. With every recollection, your power intensifies. You are not here to remain unseen or silenced. You are here as the one who awakens the rest. The light you carry is not ordinary, it is the echo of truths the world has forgotten but desperately needs. You were not sent to follow or to shrink. You were sent to stir those still sleeping and remind them of the greatness buried inside. You exist as the interruption to the trance that keeps most people subdued. Where others drift along inside the illusions that smother their perception, you pierce straight through. The fabrications, the cages, the false ceilings designed to keep human potential suppressed cannot hold against your gaze. Entire systems depend on silence and compliance, but your very being is the fracture in their design. What you carry is ignition, the living spark that shakes people awake. When you cross paths with someone, the change begins subtly. They may not recognize it at first, unease creeps in, as though their familiar ground is no longer steady beneath them. What they sense is the start of collapse in the illusions they've clung to. You compel them to confront what they've buried deep within, the truths they've denied, the aspects of themselves they tried to silence. The force you awaken inside them is their own freedom, long dulled by routines of obedience and fear. Simply by embodying your essence, you shatter the walls that concealed their strength. And though they may resist, the unraveling has already begun. The process is rarely gentle. It pulls apart layers of false safety, dismantling the identities they thought unshakable. There is tension, discomfort, even pain in the awakening you stir. Yet this turmoil is not destruction, it is the necessary breaking that precedes real freedom. Through you, they see they've always had a choice, even when the world taught them otherwise. You embody the reminder that nothing fixed is unchangeable. Structures that seemed immovable reveal themselves as fragile when confronted with your energy. You don't merely disrupt, you expose the exit, the possibility of walking beyond limitation. That revelation alone can alter the course of a life forever. But permanence was never part of your role. The power you carry cannot remain contained within a single place or relationship. To linger would distort the very awakening you bring. You arrive, you ignite, and then you move forward, leaving space for others to step into their own strength. Your gift is movement, not attachment. Each time you depart, you leave behind transformed landscapes and individuals who cannot return to their former blindness. Though they may not fully understand your absence, they will come to realize your presence was the catalyst for their awakening. And that is enough. To stay too long in one place would blur the purity of your influence, diluting the very essence that makes your role undeniable. What seems like impermanence is actually your protection, a shield that keeps you untouched by the heaviness that traps so many. Your movement ensures that you remain clear, unbound, and able to do what you came here for, to stir, to shift, and to move on before the stillness of others clings to you. You are uncontainable by design, a force that travels through minds and moments, unlocking what has been hidden. You never belonged inside the frameworks that seek to box you in. People may never fully grasp why you leave just as the transformation begins to bloom, but the truth is simple: you are not meant to be the weight that holds them down, but the spark that sets them loose. Your presence awakens freedom in others, breaks the patterns that held them captive, and once that mission is fulfilled, you move forward. The spaces you've entered needed your disruption as much as you needed the lessons they offered back. Liberation is both the gift you leave behind and the sign that your task is complete. You were never meant to blend seamlessly into the structures others call home. You were sent to shift the ground beneath those very structures, to remind people of what they forgot. You are not here to settle or to mimic their rhythm, you are here to stir what has grown stagnant. This calling cannot be altered, it is etched into who you are. Your difference has always been the evidence of your purpose. You outgrew the roles others tried to place you in because your path was never meant to fit their mold. What seemed like rejection was proof that you were born to operate outside the ordinary, stepping into the role of one who interrupts illusions and sets new directions into motion. Being misunderstood is part of your design. Those who question you, those who turn away, are not failing to see you, they are responding to the disruption you carry. Every refusal, every closed door, every time you felt out of place was not punishment but confirmation. You were never meant to be inside their systems. You were born to rise above them. Trust the unfolding of your path. Trust the wisdom that has guided you, even in the times when others could not recognize it. Trust the fire inside you that refuses to go dim, no matter how many try to smother it. You are not broken, not excessive, not mistaken, you are exact, precise, and necessary. And now the time has come to stand fully in what you are, unapologetically, because the world has been waiting for the brilliance you can no longer hide. Every time you felt unseen or misread, it was proof that your essence could not be confined to common understanding. Those moments were not setbacks, they were affirmations. The time for shrinking yourself has ended. The hesitation that once held you no longer has a place here. Your emergence is now, and your role cannot be delayed. Life itself has been waiting for you to rise into remembrance, to stand without apology in the power that has always lived within you. The questions you carried about your difference have been answered. The patterns of rejection, the moments of disconnect, the constant sense of being out of sync, they were all signs that you were never meant to conform. The reason you felt too much for the ordinary is because you were never meant to settle inside it. Your path has always been to shift the landscape, not to adjust yourself to it. Nothing about your gifts has been misplaced, and nothing about your nature has been a mistake. What seemed like denial from the world was in truth protection, guiding you away from cages too small for your soul. Every ending, every closed path, every sudden redirection was making sure you did not lose yourself in spaces unworthy of you. Where others saw loss, there was actually preservation. Space was being cleared for what aligns with your magnitude. What left your life did so only to make way for what can hold the fullness of your presence. The work that slipped from your grasp was never your true assignment. Each missed opportunity was a stepping stone into the deeper calling that only you could fulfill. Nothing about your journey has been wasted. Each twist has been precise, shaping you into who you are now. The path was exact, and now the truth is undeniable. You were never meant for the ordinary. Understanding from the masses was never the point. Your mission has always been for the ones ready to rise, the ones who recognize truth when they feel it. You are not here to explain yourself to everyone. You are here to awaken, to activate, to ignite change in those prepared to receive it. The light within you is not for approval, it is for transformation. This power has always been waiting beneath your doubt, waiting for recognition. Now that you see it clearly, the question remains, how will you wield it? The choice is yours, and the time is already here. You are precisely where you were meant to be, carrying exactly what you were meant to bring. Every sign along the way, every inexplicable moment, every connection that pierced your heart was a message reminding you, you are the one, and the world is ready for your light. You've always moved on a frequency few could tune into, and that's why the connections around you often felt shallow. What you've been seeking are the rare souls who can meet you in your depth, who carry resonance with your spirit. Casual ties could never satisfy you, because you were built for communion that reaches past time and into eternity. When the world labeled you as too much or too sensitive, the truth was never about deficiency, it was about your vastness. The expansiveness of your emotions is not a flaw but a gift. You carry the capacity to absorb and transmute energy that others cannot even sense. What you feel so deeply has always been purposeful, allowing you to heal wounds far older than your own story. The laughter you share uplifts more than individuals, it ripples through lineages. And the struggles you've endured in survival were never reflections of your inadequacy, they were lessons to expand your understanding of true wealth. Your lessons in scarcity were never about lack, but about preparation. You were being taught that fulfillment exists far beyond numbers or possessions. You've learned to find richness in awareness, in connection, in expansion of the soul. This is why when material blessings flow, and you will not be consumed by them. They will serve your purpose, not define it. The insights you carry did not suddenly appear, they have been there all along. The intuitive moments, the inner knowings, the flashes of truth, these are not new skills you've acquired, but echoes of who you've always been. Every piece of clarity has been a fragment of memory returning, guiding you back into recognition of your eternal self. What the world taught you to call abilities are simply unveilings of what was already within. Every connection that entered and then dissolved was not failure but completion. Each meeting carried its assignment, to awaken something, to teach, to mirror, to heal. And when that purpose was fulfilled, the bond naturally released, leaving you freer than before. This clarity of vision is your shield. The way you sense truth behind appearances, the way you catch glimpses of someone's essence beyond their mask, this has spared you more than once. Though it may have felt heavy at times, it was your safeguard, your compass. You are here as a midwife of awakening, guiding others as they uncover their own hidden selves. The creative sparks that surge through you are not random, they are transmissions from higher realms. Every idea, every expression, every impulse to create is a channel through which you are shaping new possibilities for the collective. And your body, too, is adjusting to carry these frequencies. The strange sensations, the sudden sensitivities, the changes no doctor can define, they are signs of your vessel evolving into alignment with the energy you are destined to hold. The outrage you've carried at the world's cruelty was never meant to consume you but to energize you. That deep ache you feel for humanity, the fury that rises when truth is silenced, the sorrow at seeing lives diminished, these were never random emotions. They are sacred fuel, igniting your devotion to transformation, to healing, to restoring balance where corruption once thrived. You were born with the ability to perceive beyond the straight lines most are confined to. While others see only one path, you perceive many threads weaving at once, sensing possibilities that stretch beyond ordinary awareness. What others might call fantasy or delusion is in fact your natural vision. You glimpse potential realities because you are meant to assist in shaping them. The dreams that linger after sleep aren't meaningless, they are transmissions. Encounters, lessons, reminders of the work you are doing beyond the waking state. Pay close attention to the images, the symbols, the energy that follows you back into the day. These are the spaces where guidance flows, where new directions are whispered into your spirit. Time has never behaved predictably for you because you exist outside its walls. You've known moments that expand endlessly, and others that collapse into mere instants. You sense memories from futures not yet lived, and long for experiences that have not arrived. This relationship with time is no accident, it is training, preparing you to guide others into the freedom beyond linear limits. Technology falters around you not because of fault, but because your energy disturbs the structures holding it together. The lights that flicker, the devices that glitch in your presence are signs of your field expanding. You are altering the patterns of reality itself just by being. What once seemed like coincidence is actually confirmation of the power you radiate. Your sensitivity has allowed you to predict, to know, to feel things others cannot explain. These abilities are not anomalies, they are the early signs of a collective capacity waiting to be awakened. You are among the first to embody what humanity will one day recognize as natural. What feels extraordinary now is simply a preview of where the species is headed. The healing you've done within yourself has not ended with you. Every cycle you've broken, every shadow you've released has rippled backward and forward, touching those who came before and those who will come after. Nature itself responds to your energy, plants, animals, and spaces shift in your presence because you're remembering the language older than words. The wisdom you share flows not from textbooks but from the eternal records imprinted in your being. By living authentically, you become medicine, and through your truth, others remember theirs.